Introduction to Mass Communications, Chapter 5, Types of Mass Communication Media. Types of Mass Communication Media: Traditional media, print media, electronic media, and its subcategory of digital media. Traditional media. Even now, villages without adequate electrical transmission infrastructure can be found. People in these areas may be unable to watch television or use the internet. Illiterate people will also be unable to read newspapers or periodicals. This does not, however, imply that they do not engage in mass communication. They have developed different ways of communication depending upon the local language, materials available, and culture. Similarly, there are traditional festivals, rituals, and morality fables passed down by word of mouth that instill important life lessons and common values. In this way, information has been imparted from one generation to another and constitutes different forms of traditional media. So let us now define traditional media, the non-electronic, non-print media, which work as part of our culture and as vehicles for transmitting tradition from one generation to another. Types of traditional media. While the popularity of traditional media has been partly supplanted by more technology-dependent popular culture media, for example, TV, movies, videos, etc., the traditional transmission channels of culture are still celebrated and are channels of communication. You've already noticed that these forms differ depending on the region and community. However, for your convenience, they can be grouped into the following categories: traditional dance, painting, drama, sculpture, storytelling, oral traditions, motifs and symbols, music, and inscriptions. Characteristics of traditional media. Traditional tools of communication are developed from the beliefs, customs, materials available, and rituals practiced by the people. These are very old and deep-rooted. Traditional media thus represents a form of communication employing vocal, musical, and visual/symbolic art forms, transmitted to a society or group of society from one generation to another. They are indigenous modes and have served society as tools/media of communication for ages. They can be written or inscribed, but predate the mass production of printed material. Do these traditional forms of communication exist today? Yes, they do. The environment, culture, and expression of a society may alter, but the goals remain the same: imparting identity, history, values, and aesthetics. Common examples of traditional media employed in that task include traditional performance art, as well as static artifacts of culture such as pottery designs, painted or carved inscriptions, iconographic imagery, ritual artifacts, etc. Even as our global community becomes more connected, traditional media are cherished forms that assert collective identity, so conscious efforts are made to celebrate and preserve communal legacies for posterity. Print media. One of the oldest and most fundamental kinds of mass communication is print media. Newspapers are the most common kind of print media. Newspaper publishers assemble, edit, and publish news stories and articles. Newspapers are essential for news, information, and entertainment. Printing has come a long way from its beginnings in 200 Common Era with woodblock printing to today's digital printing. It is a method of displaying images and text on paper using ink and a printing press. Print media is mostly used to disseminate information about daily events and news because it has traditionally been the quickest means to reach the general population. Aside from that, it provides the readers with a lot of entertainment. Magazines or newspapers may cover all of the stories and items that pique the public's interest. Advertisers exploit journalistic print media as it is very inexpensive and may reach a large audience at once. Forms of print media. Newspapers. Newspapers are the most widely circulated print medium. They are usually delivered to people's homes or sold at newsstands, and they are the most cost-effective approach to reach a large number of people immediately. Different sorts of newspapers cater to different audiences, and one can choose from a variety of options. Current events, sports, food, entertainment, fashion, money, politics and advertisements, editorials, and so on are all covered in various sections of a newspaper. Paid advertisements offsets the costs of printing and distribution to the consumer in exchange for ad exposure to prospective consumers. Newsletters. A newsletter is an informal type of periodical that focuses on a single topic or targeted to a more narrow and often self-selected audience. People are required to subscribe to organizational or local residential newsletters at times, but they are frequently free. Newsletters are commonly utilized as information sources for smaller political subdivisions like towns or homeowners associations, organizations, and groups interested in a specific topic or event. They are also utilized for marketing, political campaigns, and charitable causes. In many schools, newsletters are utilized as a communication tool for parents, informing them of what is going on in the school. Many businesses utilize newsletters as a marketing tactic to keep their consumers and staff informed. Magazines. Magazines include in-depth stories on a variety of themes, including food, fashion, sports, finance, and lifestyle. Magazines are published on a weekly, monthly, quarterly, or annual basis, and many are marketed worldwide. Magazine advertising is more expensive, but it is an excellent way to target certain market segments. Advertisements in magazines must be eye-catching while remaining basic and tasteful. The best advertisements strike a balance between amount of content while not adversely intruding on the reader. To prevent this, an advertiser can include web addresses or QR codes for further information. Advertisements and magazine subscription fees are the periodical's primary sources of revenue. Banners. Banners are composed of cloth, vinyl, or paper and are used to display slogans, logos, or messages in a variety of locations. They are also used to promote brands during trade shows by distributing product and service names. Posters, like banners, serve the same purpose. These banners also include information on how to communicate with the vendors of products or services. Posters are typically posted at eye level and designed to draw passersby's attention. Promulgating political ideologies or events is one of the most common uses for posters. Banners and posters can be customized with text and graphics, and they can be large enough to be seen from a distance. It's a sort of advertising within the reach of those with modest means and a message for the masses. Books. Books are the oldest kind of print media, predating the mass production made possible by the printing press, and they are still utilized as a means of communication and imparting knowledge. They provide writers with the opportunity to share their stories, poetries, or knowledge about a certain subject with the rest of the world. They are a multifaceted platform that covers a wide range of themes such as reference, philosophy, history, fiction stories, and many more, all of which not only broaden our education, but also delight us. Brochures. A brochure, sometimes known as a pamphlet, is a type of booklet that offers company or organization information. Brochures are typically designed to be taken away to maintain the brand in the minds of the consumers. They are distributed at such places as exhibitions or stores and include information on the company's product or service, as well as contact information. Brochures are typically 2 to 3 folds of glossy, colorful sheets with a thoughtfully crafted presentation. They can also be bulk mailed, but they may also be found on brochure racks. Flyers. A standard flyer is also considered print media. While some large corporations may not employ this form of advertising or market targeting, it may be extremely beneficial to small businesses and can help them generate revenue. To draw people's attention, A flyer should always be clear and eye-catching. Depending on the type of audience an organization is targeting, flyers can be distributed at exhibitions or posted on the walls of colleges and schools. Flyer printing is relatively affordable, so a stack can be distributed around the neighborhood or on school campuses. Advertisements, as well as local events and celebrations, are typical uses for them. Advantages of print media. Readers of print media have the option of going back and rereading what they have read. Allows the consumer of printed media to set their own pace of engagement and contemplation. Does not require the intermediary of an electronic device interface to access, so its accessibility is not affected by the obsolescence of encoding, transmitting, receiving, or decoding devices. Its consumption doesn't require access to electricity or Wi-Fi/cellular signals, so can serve as an informational backup in circumstances where those amenities aren't available. Disadvantages of print media. Literacy is a prerequisite for working in the print media. It can only be read by someone literate. Print media has a time lag, and in case of reporting current events or scientific principles, the relevancy has a shelf life as current events become history and today's scientific or technological breakthroughs become supplanted by future advances. Print media has no means of instant, responsive, and reciprocal feedback. Despite these drawbacks,